Hey, what's going on, y'all? Now, in today's video, I want to talk to something that's a little near and dear to my heart. Because I've been feeling these temptations lately. These temptations have been coming to me. To return to my vomit. And I would counsel, advise, and encourage you to never return to your vomit. Do not return to your vomit. It's a sick thing. But when you've been delivered from something, when you have left something, escaped something, be that a toxic environment, be that toxic relationships, toxic lifestyle habits, many a thing you could have moved forward from, towards something more nutritious, if you will, better food. You're not licking your vomit anymore. You moved forward from that. And now you're into the dog bowl. Hey, if you want to look at it as God, you know what I mean? You're getting premium dog food from the Lord. If you want to look at it as something you hunted down yourself, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's yours, you know what I'm saying? You got that. That's your food. You hunted that down, you're getting into that. It's better for you than your vomit was. So I advise you, do not return to your vomit. You know, you'll be tempted. Many a thing might come back and, present itself to you. These things from your toxic lifestyle. These people from toxic relationships. The pleasures of a toxic environment. But you have to remember how that toxicity affected you, or will affect you if you go back to it. And value the nutrition that you gain from your new environment. You know, it's important to realize that when we create new habits, when we enforce new things, new relationships in our life, that whatever we do in those relationships, however we operate our mannerisms and such, excuse me, it's cold out here, y'all. But your mannerisms there, the things that carry you forward, whatever you put into the universe, it will pick up and reinforce. It's in Napoleon Hill, he has Outwitting the Devil. He calls it the law of hypnotic rhythm. Essentially, whatever habit that you put forward, whatever energy you put forward into a habit, the universe will pick that up and increase it. It's a law. So if you decide to be, more productive, to improve your productivity, and you stay consistent with that, the universe will make you more consistent with that. You'll find it'll be easier for yourself to stay consistent and continue to be productive because you've put forward the time and effort already. And as long as you put that into the universe will pick that up and speed it up. It's a snowball effect. You start rolling downhill, you pick up some snow, and the longer you roll, the faster you go, the more snow you got. The same thing happens when you start to engage with bad habits. You start to be less productive. You start to be more lazy. You start to engage with worse behaviors, worse people, worse relationships. The universe will pick that up and snowball it in the exact same way. You'll notice a rapid increase of, that sick behavior, that toxicity. So if you return to your vomit, this is what the Bible means when it says, the man who returns to his vomit, his demons, they come back on him 7 times worse. Because just by the act of going back to it, you have re-invited these things into your life, and the universe picks that up and engages that in a more advanced way. You're going to be even deeper trapped into these things. And sure, you'll have the knowledge and the know-how of the better, but having returned to the pleasures of toxicity, you can drown in them. And you can lose sight of a better life. So I'd advise and I'd encourage you to maintain your distance from these toxic people, from these toxic environments, from these toxic lifestyle habits that you may have engaged in the past. They're not worth returning to. Stick with what you know is better. And even though the temptations may come to try and lure you back into that lifestyle, to try and lure you back into those relationships, lure you back into those habits, You have to continue to resist. And if the only thing that keeps you from going back is how good your new life is, you have to keep that on the forefront. But hey, just remember how bad the old life was. An example for myself of a toxic behavior that I left. I used to smoke a lot of weed. And at the time, I believed it was necessary. I was using it like a medicine, using it to heal some past wounds. But for a long time, I used it like a band-aid. And if you keep a band-aid on a wound, it never has time to heal. It never has time to recover and actually, fully heal. The scar might be there, but you have to give it time to recover. And for me, I was smoking weed, putting a band-aid on my ailments. And I had to take the band-aid off. And for a while, I was putting it back on, taking it off, putting it back on, taking it off. And then after it just fully healed, I realized, why am I going back to this thing? I don't need this like I used to. It's not a need for me. Why do I keep, returning to this when there are, honestly, for me, it became more cons than pros. There were more worse things about smoking than the pros that it was giving me. I felt it made my vibe too vulnerable. So that was something I had to get rid of. And sure, there have been plenty of temptations to try and get me back into smoking weed. But all I had to do was consider the fact that I like to think straight. I don't like to be too high. I like to think straight nowadays. And, you got to leave what's in the past. That's something I'm moving forward from. That's something I don't need anymore. And so to continue pretending like that would be returning to my vomit and inviting all those cons onto me 10 times worse. You have to let your brain grow. You have to let your brain recover from, all the ailments and being high all the time. That's not the mode of mind in which you can do the best recovery. That was something I had to quit. I had to get rid of. And everything in its time, Again, this might be something you need, but for me personally, I had to get it out. And so for me to return to that would be going back to my vomit. It's purposeless for me right now. It'd be returning to my vomit. And returning to your vomit, well, that's a quick way to pile up other bad behaviors, to snowball into other negative behaviors and other negative situations. So, becoming free of your vomit and never returning to it is the way to live a productive life. It's the way to go forward. And it's like Sodom and Gomorrah, you know what I mean? Do not look back. Watch yourself turn into a pillar of salt. You know what I mean? These parables contain a message. When you look back, when you go back to that vomit, hey, you know what I'm saying? You might want to look back. You might want to just see what's going on. But even, again, the snowball effect, that hypnotic rhythm, even just engaging a little bit in those temptations will pull you deeper and deeper. And I noticed, man, once Satan's got you on a hook, once these negative behaviors have got you on a hook, they pull you quick. So, hey, be careful even taking a nibble. Because, the fishermen are after you, man. These temptations are after you. These lifestyles, they'll try and pull you back in a second. So, freedom from these behaviors should be maintained, should be valued and appreciated, and never let go of. All right. Take care, y'all. Peace.